It's another weekend, another football weekend, and I'm joined by Dave Chali. Dave Chali, how's it going?
It's all good, Doc. It's all good, Welcome to the peoples, everybody that's listening in. Just another week of football, two African brothers doing what they do.
And you know what? Amen to that. Question
Amen.
to you, Dave. We have a lot going on this weekend. Why don't you just shoot off one, two, three things that we want to cover today? Then we go from there.
All right. Well, we definitely got to cover this whole Le'Veon Bell thing, happening with the Chiefs. The New York Jets are just, we'll talk about that,
Okay.
All right. And then we got the Browns and the Steelers. It's
Okay.
definite, that's a big game.
Right.
And then we got, 5 NFL MVPs between the two of them, Rodgers and Brady.
That's an exciting one.
That's, I think it's the marquee matchup for the late games, So there we are. Then we got some other stuff, here and there that we talk about. We always, as Eagles and Ravens, but that's going to be a prayer for the Eagles.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go on with Le'Veon Bell. He had a great career with the Pittsburgh Steelers and then moved to the Jets. I just feel he wasn't utilized well at the Jets. First of all, when he moved from Pittsburgh, a lot of Pittsburgh fans were unhappy. And one of the things I always tell people, if you don't like your job, you look for a new job, right? You look for a new organization to work for. One of those
Amen
same things
that.
happens with our professional athletes, right?
Yeah.
So, young brother moves from Pittsburgh. People are a bit salty. I'm like, deal with that. That's your fault. He has a family to leave and a career to build. He moves to the Jets. What happens at the Jets?
This is what happened. Adam Gates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he gets a chance to be a head coach. He was poor in Miami. He's gone to the Jets. And he's poor there, and on top of that, Le'Veon Bell is what we call in the prime of his career. And to sit behind a rookie quarterback like that and a rookie head coach, it was a recipe for disaster. It was a recipe for disaster, which is what the New York Jets are.
So question for you. If you're moving to an organization and you're at the prime of your career, is that part of your decision to make? Like, I want to go there. Nope, I want to go here. What's kind of the process? What do you think the process is as a pro? How to make those decisions?
The hardest thing is free agency, right? So when he moved, he wasn't a free agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember he held out for a season.
Yes, he
in
did.
Pittsburgh so that he could become a free agent. All right. So that's what happened. So when he came out, the only team that was willing to give him money, the kind of money that he wanted, was the hopeless New York Jets. So he's financially secure, great, but he's had 1.5 seasons of just abysmal numbers on an abysmal team. And now, look at it, right? So now you look at it, he cashed his chips in, they let him go because him and the coach didn't get along. And now, the Chiefs, I mean, really? How many more weapons do they need? I mean, come on, man.
Well, that makes things a little bit interesting. I know the Chiefs lost last week, but what does this do for them? What does this addition do for the Chiefs?
Do you remember that soccer team called the Galacticos, Real Madrid?
Yes.
When they had all those players, Zizou, they had Beckham, they had what's his name, Figo.
Yes.
I mean, you couldn't stop Roberto Carlos. It was Galacticos. That's what the Chiefs have become. They've become that. They've got the best of everything. Quarterback, they got the best running back, they got the best passer, they got one of the best coaches. I mean, what don't they have?
So we have a situation where they're positioned to possibly do very well this season, right?
They are. They're the reigning favorites because, one, they didn't lose a single player, and they just added. They got one of the best rookies out of the draft. All right, and then now they got Le'Veon Bell, and you look at it. Le'Veon Bell is used to being the number one option in an offense. Here with the Chiefs, he might be number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. It don't matter. because that's how good they are.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, so that Chiefs-Bills game is going to be very interesting, considering both teams are coming off a loss.
You know, Dave, first of all, this is not a normal season. I mean,
No,
this COVID-19, how are these athletes, how are they staying focused and trying to execute on their
you know.
assignments and their games?
So think about it like this, Oscar. You know, we as athletes, as producers, as TV presenters, you name it. You
Right.
you do it because of the audience.
Right.
The audience is the one that fuels you into being the best of yourself,
Right.
right? And that audience has been taken away from them. There's no fans. Very few games have limited fans. So you go from playing, making calls on the field to where people can barely hear you, to now you can hear the line, the line, your next lineman pass gas. You know what I mean? So it's a whole. I give them. This is what I say. I give them credit. Anybody that can play and execute at a high level in this environment is a true athlete. Absolutely, true athlete. All sports that are going on right now, no fans, and they're playing at this level. And what you get to see is players who are, those marginal players, the ones that can't handle the crowd.
Right.
Now they're shining because there's no crowd. There's no one telling them you suck. You know what I mean?
Those insults that come from the
Yeah.
fans, those Eagle fans, nasty. Yeah.
Just which reminds me of a great episode of, you and I watching a United versus Celtic match.
Yes,
Remember
that's when that first actually built the first game played in that new Phillies in the link.
Yeah,
was Celtic and United.
Yeah, and we took the Radina Soccer Club. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we tailgated. It was a good afternoon, man.
We showed people how to tailgate even just at a soccer game. Not a soccer game. They didn't understand. We brought a grill. There was a pickup. Who was it? Who brought the? Who was it? Keone? Keone brought the grill in the pickup.
I think so. Yes, it was. Man, here's the thing, and especially it happened during those days when when I was an hourly worker, and if you leave work, you don't get paid. Yeah. And I left work early to make sure I make that game.
Yeah.
But
we showed American fans.
Yeah.
What African fans are like, because we sang the whole entire time. You and I going up against each other. You were singing United songs. I was singing Liverpool songs, and we were just going at each other, all day. And people, the whole stadium was kind of looking at us like, who are these crazy guys?
Who let these folks out of their asylum, man? Yeah. Now, it was a good time, man. Those are those moments that I keep saying. Those are memorable moments, right? Yeah. But if I go back to this thing that I always tell myself, and also when I coached rugby, and also when we coached soccer together, the aggregation of marginal gains. Okay.
Yeah.
This is that concept where you're just trying to get better, 1% better at everything you do.
Yes.
If you put all that together, right, you become the super athlete. You become the successful person in life. And sometimes, we tend to always look at the negative. And there's this thing I kept telling myself, or I kept telling the team, or we both preached to the teams, that you got to have that neutral mindset, right? The neutral thinking capacity. Where things go wrong, you got to block that out. You got to have a short-term memory. Yeah. That happened, forget about it. What are we going to do to go forward? I see that a lot happening, especially in this season of the NFL, as being very important, right? The stuff happening around you. The basketball guys, the NBA did it in the bubble. The NBA is not a physical game like football.
No, it's not.
And football has got more people on the rosters, right?
Well, see, this is the one thing I tell everybody about the difference between football and any other sport. There's a coach for every position.
Yeah.
That's the attention to detail the NFL has. There's a coach for every position. Think
And
about that.
if you're trying to play basketball, all you need is one hoop and kids in the street are playing it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to put a court, look at how small the court is. Someone can donate that and there's a court.
Yeah.
But with American football, where do you start? I mean, the kit itself is expensive. The
pads,
if they figure that out, right? If they figure that out, then this sport can really, 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 really take off around the world. But the world has other issues, right?
They've found a way because if you look at Nick Foles, right? You look at Matthew Stafford. You look at and then a couple of other quarterbacks that are recently coming into the league, right? They're all coming from a program in Texas where they play flag football, 7-on-7. There's no pads, it's 7-on-7, right? And it's all about defensive backs, receivers, and quarterbacks.
Right.
It's about reading plays, running routes, gunslinging. When you watch it, it is fun to watch. So the NFL somehow, and I know because a friend of mine, Kathy, over here, she's running a league of that at the youth level. It's just 7-on-7, and it's a fast game, and it's developing skillful players. You know what I mean? Real skillful players. And if they can replicate that around the world, they'll get fans. I think that's the way they need to go. If they can replicate that, because all you need is a jersey, a little flag, belt around you, and you're good to go. Right?
So let's segue into the Browns and Steelers game. Ben Roethlisberger has owned the Browns his whole career here in Pittsburgh. But the Browns have a very good chance of putting up a good fight this weekend. What are your thoughts?
I think the biggest thing that Baker Mayfield is going to have to deal with is the defense of the Steelers. The defense of the Steelers is what we call, zero duck 30. That's all I can say. It's zero duck 30. These guys show you one thing and then play another. And if you're not good at reading, especially their safety, man, he can do man-to-man, he can do zone, he can pass rush, he can run, he can run stop. So the flexibility of that, and then, the defensive backs, they're so interchangeable. I was watching some film and I was going, man, how do they do this? And just watching how they treated Carson Wentz last week. It's Baker Mayfield is going to be in for a long day. If he can handle that, he will, and make the right reads, he'll be fine, because he has some crazy receivers in Beckham, Odell Beckham, and I forget the other guy's name. But yeah, he's got two standout wideouts, and he's got a great running back in Kareem Hunt. So if they can keep the Steelers defense off balance, they have a chance.
Look, all I can say is it's going to be a good game for our Cleveland Browns fans. Good luck, because I know they're having a good season. This is one of the best seasons they're having in a long time.
It's a great time for them to get rid of the curse. You know what I mean? Because this franchise has been through such an up and down. Because again. And we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens, right? But the Baltimore Ravens were originally the Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
They packed up and left. They got up, they went to D.C. And there they are. They've been successful. And I give the NFL credit for when they went back to expansion, they said, no, Cleveland needs to get a team. But since then, they haven't been relevant.
Let's transition now. Another big game that's taking place. Tampa Bay with the Cheeseheads from Wisconsin, Green Bay.
We'll see. As much as as again, the Bucks, my my love for football is one thing, but I have a great passion in terms of disgust with the Bucks because of what John Gruden did to Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb.
Yeah,
because
such is life.
John Gruden, after being the offensive coordinator with us, goes to Oakland with the Raiders, does this thing over there. It doesn't work out. Actually, it works out pretty well. But he goes, "It's okay, man. Let me go here." And they got rid of Tony Dungy, which was so mad because Tony Dungy was playing with remember that the I forget the black quarterback's name, but man, he didn't have an offense, but he had the best defense, man. My gosh. So
Wait, I thought Tony Dungy had retired. Right?
No, man, they fired him. Tony Dungy remember, Tony Dungy went after that to the Colts and won with Peyton Manning.
Oh, yes. After that, went to the Colts. My fault. Yeah, I got the timing wrong. Okay.
Right? But he was in Tampa Bay. He had built it. That's where Tomlin was the defensive coordinator. I mean, he had built a staff.
Tony Dungy had done the work. Somebody else came in and took the glory.
Yes.
So let's come back to the matchup. Tom Brady moved from the Patriots, came from a very good organization. I want to salute my Patriot fans. They have a big following. And then he's going to be playing. Right.
So tell me, Oscar, this is something we have to explore. There's a big Kenyan fan base when it comes to New England Patriots.
That's correct, because most of those fans came to the Massachusetts area for college. They were up there for uni, and once you're up there, it's also football. It's a football area, right?
It's title town.
Yeah.
I must admit, in recent years, when you talk about NBA, Bo Sox, Patriots, it's title town.
And that's it. So when you're winning, yeah, it's very easy to create a fan base, right?
It's very easy to fall in love.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm mad at that. By the way, I'm very proud of what those guys have done as an organization and all the sports teams up there. We just need to let the people from around the world recognize that.
I want to bring this back to the Tampa Bay Packers game, because how many of our African brothers are rooting for Tom Brady? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's interesting because I think people appreciate what he has done with the sport of football.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take away what he has done. So that fan base is still going to be there. People are happy for him.
Yeah.
People want to see him succeed, right? I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be up there, if not the best QB. He's going to be up there with the best of QBs. That's another topic for discussion. We can always get there. But the reason why people may still be happy with Tom Brady is because he led their teams, and he did it in a very interesting way. When I say interesting way, he's about the work. He gets the work done, or he tries to get the work done. Now the question is,
9 trips, 6 rings.
There you go. Yeah. The data and the record speaks for itself, or helps narrate the story.
But you know what's so nice about it? All the teams he's lost to are NFC East. And speaking of the best, Oscar, speaking of the best, he's going up against
Aaron Rodgers.
This guy, so far, is the only quarterback who hasn't thrown an interception all year.
Dave,
his touchdown to interception ratio is the best in the history of the NFL.
That's a good example of a guy of the aggregation of marginal gains, right? So I tell you what, on that note, Dave, let's leave it there. So I tell you what, Dave, let's leave it there. Let's catch you all next week. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. We're having a good time. David, last words?
All I can say is, can somebody play for the Eagles, because they've got the Baltimore Ravens this week?
They're going to be smoked. They're going to be smoked. Let's not mince
That's what I'm
words.
asking for prayers. So when you go to church tomorrow morning, please give Carson Wentz and the Eagles a little bit of prayer.
All right, Dave.
All
We'll
right.
leave it there. Cheers.
Love you, man.
All right. Peace.
Peace.